another Boston Festival of Indie Games interview, and today we have Seth from
Subaltern Games.
Very good. And first thing right off the bat that I wanted to ask you about is, because you have an interesting background that plays directly into your games, is what were you doing before you made games?
Well, before this, I was a teacher teaching special ed middle school math in Roslindale. And I started this project as a side thing while I was employed. And then I quit my job in October of 2012 in order to work on this thing full time because I decided I could teach more effectively through my video game.
All right, very good. And what was that experience like, transitioning from teacher to actually doing an indie game?
It was trial and error. It was very hard. Once I accepted that my hours were going to be really wonky for a while, things got easier.
All right. And you're by yourself, right?
I'm by myself and I have a lot of help from various people.
Okay. Now, looking back on it, would you say that you're happy with that decision?
Oh yeah, this has been a wonderful decision. I'm doing exactly what I want to do right now.
Because the reason I ask is I know I have a lot of friends who want to make games, but they don't at all see it as a possibility. And I don't know, they never even try. So it's kind of cool to see someone who actually goes out there and tries.
Well, I mean, on top of all that, my background is in history. And prior to doing this project, I'd taken 2 classes in college on Java programming, which this is not Java, this is Python, which I've never used before neocolonialism. It is, in fact, ludicrously hard to make a video game. It's incredibly hard to do. The upshot of that is that at the end of the day, you will have a video game.
Yeah. I think, like, one thing I always tell them, I don't know if you agree with this, but I kind of just feel like you just gotta do it. Like, there's nothing else to it. Like, you can think it's impossible, but if you don't do anything, yeah, nothing's gonna happen. But
well, to that I would say, it is in fact really hard. And I was unable to make this game the way I wanted it to be, working part-time. And attempting to work on it full-time is in fact a financial risk. So, good luck. It's a good,
Yeah. I actually quit my job back in, I don't remember, August to do it. And yeah, I know what you mean. But anyways, back on the point. You were a teacher before, and so that's pretty interesting because that seems to directly play into the point of this game.
Yes,
part of the point of this
absolutely.
game.
This is meant to be an educational game in addition to being a classic turn-based strategy with a new twist.
Yep. So, like, the game, Neocolinialism, what is it exactly?
It is a Marxist strategy game, and you play as a finance banker, and you attempt to extract as much money from the world as possible in 12 turns.
And one interesting thing I know is, if you care to talk about it, how, as the game progresses, from a player's standpoint, it's kind of interesting, right? How you get to see basically the actions that they choose, they get to watch it unfold, right?
Sure.
So what's that like?
Well, one of my favorite things when watching people play is that they start to realize how morally despicable their choices are, that it just gets worse and worse in the name of profit.
Yeah.
That the way to win the game is, in fact, to pillage the world and ruin it as much as possible.
Now, actually, you know, it's a good point. Your history background. I'm guessing that plays a big role in this?
For sure.
What was your, did you have any favorite topics that you liked that you liked in history?
Oh, that's a difficult question to answer, actually.
Okay, then you don't have to answer it. All right, well, then at that point, you actually gave a lot of talks, too, as well, right, on how educational games tend to be. And I know you gave a talk at PAX, and you've given other ones as well.
Right. I first gave it at Indies, Boston Indies.
Okay.
And I gave a very similar talk at PAX, and I've done it a few other places. And it's really all about how I am really fed up with most educational games. I think they're mostly crap,
Okay.
by and large, and that my game is meant to be a response to mainstream educational game development.
Okay. What do you think goes wrong, and then what have you done to improve on that?
Well, there's a lot of things that go wrong
Okay.
all at once, and that would take a long time to explain. But what you end up getting is you generally have two kinds of games. One is the one that's pedagogically meaningful, but really boring.
Uh-huh.
And the other one is the one that's really fun, but incredibly shallow. And there's almost no games that do both this. And my game is meant to be fun and educational, such that the educational content is synonymous with the fun aspects, as opposed to being two separate
Okay.
pieces.
And one thing I remember is one thing that's really cool about this is you're learning these things, but it's not like you need any kind of. It's very easy to play through. Like you've really created a system that a person can play through it. It's not complicated and go through it. Like it's not. There's no huge boundary to overcome to play the game, because I love the way it's a user
Sure.
interface. It's like it's so cleanly done, and I'm guessing that's something that took some time to get right.
Oh, that took forever. I think when I first showed it at FIG last year, it was a disaster. There was such a learning curve to do the simplest things, and part of the reason is because I'm very new at this, but the other reason is because this is an economic strategy game, and a lot of the mechanics are very unfamiliar to most computer users.
Okay. So speaking of FIG, you're going to be there again this year, right? Besides the disaster of, well, I don't want to say disaster, but besides that, how was your experience?
Oh, I had a great time. There were technical problems also, but by and large, it was really fun to put the game in front of all sorts of enthusiastic people and see what they thought of it.
Very cool. Speaking of which, you did FIG, but you also recently finished a Kickstarter.
Yes,
Is that right?
In January, yes.
And that experience.
Was in equal measure exhilarating and stressful.
Okay, but in the end, it was
Successful.
It was successful, and you even started gaining a following from that too, right?
That's been a wonderful thing that's come out of the Kickstarter
That's
campaign.
really cool. And I know you've been on Greenlight
Yes.
since day one, and that experience for you has been.
It is what it is. It's not really going anywhere.
All right. And where can people follow Neocolinialism or your studio? or anything like that?
My website is subalterngames.com, and I'll post updates there regularly. My Twitter thingy is Subaltern Games. No space, no underscore.
Yep.
Just the thing. And my Facebook page is facebook.com/neocolonialism.
Very good. And one quick final note is you're in beta right now, and you're going to be having what do you call it? Play testing
Yeah.
pretty soon, right?
Yeah.
So what's that going to be like?
Oh, I'm hoping to just get enough people to play one or two games simultaneously, put them in the same room, have a notebook, and write down every expletive that comes out of their mouths and try to fix things accordingly. I plan on being at FIG this year, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, cool. So that was Seth from Subaltern Games, and he's working on Neocolinialism. And we're Boston Fig. You can see us at bostonfig.com. That's all.